Okay, students, so let's just dive into it and let's get after it. So 3.7 to 3.8, we're talking about parallel and perpendicular lines, their equations, their slopes. Phase 4, we've been talking about this all week. All right, so given the following lines, identify the slope, which would be parallel, and the slope that would be perpendicular. All right, so basically, one thing we got to remember is that it's in y equals mx plus b form. So really, all we're worried about is this right here, the slope. All right, so the given slope was 5 over 2. Remember, the parallel slope, they're equal or the same, however you want to think about it. Equal slope, same slope, whatever. So it's literally just going to be the same thing. You identify the slope, and it's the same thing. Then the perpendicular slope, that's when you change sign and flip. Officially, you want to say opposite reciprocal, but we'll say change sign and flip. So that means that since it was positive, it's now negative, and then since it's 2 or 5 over 2, it's going to be 2 over 5, and that's literally it. And we wrote down some stuff I like, so first off, let's make it a little smaller. Okay. I'm going to copy, paste, and do the same thing down here. We'll change the color. Let's make this one this color. That's a beautiful color right there. All right, so, but now we got to rate all the slopes. So in this one, the given slope right there, -3 over 7. That means the parallel slope equal or the same, so it's going to be -3 over 7. And then the perpendicular slope, now it's going to be positive 7 over 3. You don't really need to write positive. You technically should just write 7 over 3 because it's implied that it's positive. Nice. Okay, and then this last one, boom, paste again, change it. Let's pick let's see what other cool color. Ooh, electric red looks pretty nice. Okay, so now let's realize that the given slope is 9 over 4. So the parallel slope will again be 9 over 4, and the perpendicular change sign negative, and then flip 4 over 9. Cool beans. All right, and that's that. Cruising right along. We're gonna choose the correct phrase to complete each sentence below the graph. You may use choices more than once or not at all. All right, so these are our choices: parallel to, perpendicular to, or neither parallel or perpendicular. So it's parallel, perpendicular, or neither. All right, so looking at A, y equals 3x plus 10 is blank to the graph above. So let's look at this graph. So again, all we really got to do is focus on the slope, and remember it's, oops. So we could actually calculate the slope, but let's not. Let's just count rise, run. Okay, so slope is rise over run. Why? Because they say so. So the rise is up 2. We went up 2. Then we went left 6, or excuse me, right 6. So 2 over 6, or 1/3. And a good habit to form is, notice how I went from dot to dot. That's always gonna, like, you're never certain, like, even though it looks like it's crosses right here at 0, 3, are we sure? Well, it does, but sometimes it can be hard to tell, so it's always good to go from dot to dot. So, looking at this one, A is the line y equals 3x plus 10. Well, let's look at the slope. The slope is 3. All right, so it's not equal. So we know, here I'm going to write over in this margin, 3 doesn't, oops, I wrote M. We know 3 doesn't equal 1/3, so it's not parallel. What about perpendicular? Well, they're both positive, so since the signs haven't changed, this one would be neither. The signs didn't change or anything like that. Okay, now looking at this next one, we have -3. All right. So, obviously, -3 doesn't equal 1/3, so they're not parallel. However, if I take 1/3, I flip it and change the sign, I get -3/1, or just -3. Oops, that was a weird looking -3 I drew. So this one would be perpendicular. The slopes are opposite reciprocals. Okay. That one is the only one that those two are the only two that uses the graph above. Now we can just focus on these, and I'm going to put some work down here, give us a little bit more room to write. But C, notice how the slope of C, we'll do slope of line 1. So M sum 1, slope of line 1, the slope is -2/5. All right. Then in this next one, the second slope, M sub 2, is 5/2. Again, we changed the sign. We flipped the numbers. Again, change sign and flip. So we got back-to-back perpendiculars. Pretty cool. All right. Cruising right along, we'll do D. D, we got 8/7. Then we have the second slope is -8/7. So they're not equal. They don't equal each other. They're not flipped or anything. So again, this would be a neither. Dang it, we didn't see any parallels yet. I'm so sad. All right. Hope we get a parallel on one of these last two. All right, so y equals 7. This is for E. Y equals 7. That's a horizontal line. We know that. But looking at this, so we can always use our good friend Desmos to help us out. Let me see if I can use Desmos super quick. So when doing the problem like this, where am I at? Right here. We have y equals 7. So when in doubt, maybe just plug it in. I'm going to plug in these 2 points. 7, comma, -1. And then 7, comma, -4. So looking at this, notice how we'd have a vertical line to go through the blue and the green points. The line would have to be vertical. All right. So when we have a vertical line, that means the equation that goes through these 2 points would be x equals 7. All right. So x equals 7. So this would be perpendicular. And then for fun, super quick, let's change both these numbers to 3. All right, let's pretend like that's a 3 and that's a 3. That's going to make the problem a little bit better. And then for F, we got y equals 5. So let's change that first equation, y equals 5. And then this next one, let's replug these points in. Now we have -1, 3. And we have -4, 3. So notice now to go through these green and blue dots, we'd need another horizontal line. And in fact, that equation would be y equals 3. Because that's the y value of each coordinate. So this one would be parallel. All right, that's it for this video. Stay tuned for more.